everyone, thank you for joining us again. Today I'm going to show you a project that I'm excited to get started on. What we're making today is a daybed. This daybed is something that has been in my head for a little while, however I haven't had the momentum to complete it. So I do have the headboard and a footboard that I actually bought at a consignment store a long time ago. I'd say probably going on a good 10 years ago. Sometimes with projects it just sits in my head for a little while until I actually really have a solid idea of what I want to do with it. So for some reason I had the inspiration and I finally thought it through, and I've written down the plans for the daybed, and I'm going to share that with you as well. When it's on paper, I measure everything out and make sure that everything looks solid on paper, and then it comes together really nicely when I'm starting to embark on the project. I'm actually going to show you the before pictures of the headboard, so what they look like when I actually bought them from the consignment store, and then I'm going to show you what I've done with them so far. So essentially I painted them black, and we're going to be making the railings for the daybed black as well. I also bought some foam that will act as our mattress for the daybed, but because I'm making a specific size for the daybed, I didn't want it as long as a regular bed, so that's why I actually went to a foam place and actually bought some real high density foam to be able to make my own mattress, but I'll show you that in another video. But for now, let's focus on making the frame and let's get underway. This is the rough sketch that I made of the daybed with the measurements. The materials that I'm going to need for this project are some 2x4s. Actually those there are studs, but I had them left over from a previous project, so because they're here I'm going to use them. They're nice and thick and sturdy, so that's what I'm going to use for the inside rungs. To the right of those, you're going to see those brown pieces of MDF that I had left over from another project. I had built some bookshelves that I'll show you in another video, but we're going to be using that. Those pieces are going to serve as what I'm calling my faceboard. We're going to actually cut the pieces of wood and the MDF to 72 inches each. So they're all the same length. So the daybed is going to be essentially 72 inches from the inside to the inside. So 6 feet essentially. I'm going to be using that faceboard as because obviously the wood is a bit ugly. I don't want that to show. So the faceboard is going to be what's going to be showing on the outside of the daybed. We're also going to need a few more 2x4s, and that's what's going to act as our rungs between the two sideboards. So that's what's going to hold the mattress in place and make sure that it's sturdy and that there's not going to be any gaping. So that's going to lay across these boards to make it nice and sturdy. And then we're obviously going to need some screws, some long wood screws. And we're also going to need some carpenter's glue. The type that I use is LEPAGE, the No More Nails by LEPAGE. I find that works really well to keep things nice and secure. And use These two are going to be glued and screwed together. This is going to be the outside that you're going to be seeing. This is going to be hidden on the inside. These are where your rungs are going to be, your 2x4 rungs are going to be. So it'll be up about this high. And then your mattress is going to sit from a probably good 1.5 to 2 inches beneath the surface here. So it'll be a little bit hidden. We're going to be gluing the two pieces together.
This glue, it's called No More Nails by LePage, is the best glue if you want to make sure that something's really well adhered. You don't want the holes to penetrate through to the wood facing, because if you do that, then you're going to have it show through onto the other side.
Welcome to my messy garage. It's only messy because I make it messy with all of the projects that are waiting for me to complete. So what we've done is we've cut and put together the side rails, so the facing and the actual railing. And now what we've done is we've actually gone out and bought our the rungs that are going to go in between. And originally I told you that the sizes that I was going to use is a 2x4. The actual size that I bought is actually a 4x1. It's a little bit thinner than the actual size that we were going to use originally. However, it's still going to allow us to have a nice sturdy base and a nice place to set the mattress on, so that the mattress doesn't go in. So I was thinking about the design a little bit, and because we're making a daybed that'll have a high usage, I really wanted to make sure that it was going to be sturdy. And so I've decided to actually modify the original design a little bit. And the modification, what we're going to be doing with the modification is we're going to add a 1x4 to the headboard and the footboard. So right across, we're going to attach a 1x4 to the footboard and the headboard, which will essentially be our the sides of our daybed. So the reason I'm doing that is so that we will be able to ensure that when we're adding the side rails, it'll be nice and sturdy, and we won't have to worry about any of the when we're drilling our holes to attach the side rails, that we don't have to worry about them splitting as easily or what have you. It just makes it a little bit more sturdy. We're going to get underway and finish up the cutting and then assembling the daybed. Using the 4x1 that we just cut, we are going to attach each 4x1 to each end piece of the bed. We will be using wooden dowels and wood glue to fasten the wood pieces to each end piece. To mark where I will be drilling holes for the dowels in the 4x1, I have marked the dowel with pencil so that I can transfer the pencil mark onto the 4x1. The chalk usually works better for this purpose, but I can only find a pencil, so I made do, and it worked really well. So what you do next is you put an end piece face down and you drill a hole on each side all the way through to the back so that you can attach the side rails next. I wanted to admit that I had made an error when it came to adjusting the design. So what I didn't account for was the fact that by adding those two pieces of wood to the headboard and the footboard, it added probably about an inch total to the length of the bed. So it probably is not going to be a problem, but because I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to these things, what I have to do now is just cut a little bit off of the ends, which I've measured already. So the measurement that I took, it's the same width as you would see here. So it's the same width of these. So so whatever measurement I had for that, I think it was less than an inch. So less than an inch on both sides, the exact same measurement I accounted for these pieces of wood that for the side rails. So now we're going to have to saw off not the entire piece, not the facing of it, just the actual support braces. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut off up until the support braces. So we have placed it the other end on a overturned plant pot, just to keep it kind of horizontal. As we screw in the rest of this screw here. There we go. We've attached one of the side rails, and now we're going to do the exact same thing to the other side, and then attach it to the head and footboard as well. So now we're going to measure in between the rungs and then cut the pieces to the size that we need. I always like to confirm. I mean, you could just assume that the measurement that I had anticipated based on subtraction and addition or whatever that I had for the original design would be correct, but it's always good when you have the pieces together before you cut the actual wood. You want to make sure that the measurement that you have in the drawing is accurate. So the measurement that we have here, to make it nice and tight, we can say about, well, essentially it's a 35 and a half. So 35 and a half inches for both sides. Just make sure. It's really tight, 35 and a half. So I can make it just like 1/8 shorter than that, or 2/8 shorter than that. Let me just make sure it's the same all across. Yep. So 35 and a half, okay? So that's what we'll be measuring now. We've measured the rungs that'll be going across the side rails.
That'll be the support for our mattress. These are them here. And now we're just about to cut them. So we've measured out 5, and we're probably going to use all 5 of them just to make sure that there's a sturdy bottom for the mattress when we have the mattress. Okay, so here we go. Alrighty. So these are the rungs that we've cut out. We're going to space them apart just to see if maybe we should cut 1 or 2 more. And we can just measure them out if we want a nice equal spacing between them, but I'm just right now eyeballing it. I think 5 is good enough. I think 5 is perfect. For the rungs, we're going to use the 10 by 1.5 inch screws because they don't need to be as long. It'll still give us some supports. You don't even have to use 1.5 inch. You could use 1.25 or even 1 inch screws because it just needs to be able to penetrate through your rung and deep enough into the side slab so that you can actually keep the rungs nice and secure. So we're going to continue making our holes, but we're going to try not to move our rungs, okay? So and that's the last thing that we would need to do to finish up the physical structure of the frame. And the only thing left that we would have to do the cosmetic stuff. So, touching it up where it needs a little bit more paint, where we've scuffed it a little bit while we were constructing the frame, and also painting the facing on these sideboards. The other thing I might want to do just to give it more of a finished look is I might add some small crown molding in the corners here so that it looks like this piece was essentially or is essentially part of this piece. So I'll show you what to do with that. So essentially the daybed is done. We're going to move it inside the house to finish up the trim and the painting, just to touch up some of the scuffed areas. And in our next video, we're going to show you how to make the mattress and show the completed daybed. Bye for now.